Hello, everyone. I am Cynthia Trejo, Chief Encouragement Officer with Her Element Network, and we're with Real Talk, a digital talk show for women where we have real women having real conversations about life challenges, triumphs in their career, in life, and in business. Today's topic is Make Your Mark, and I love that topic. Our guest is Norma Molina, who is with the Women of Alpha. So we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month from September the 15th all the way through October the 16th of 2020. And we have a series for the Women of Alpha, which is the Association of Latino Professionals for America, the El Paso chapter. Norma is actually the Director of Corporate Sponsorship for the El Paso chapter. Thank you so much, Norma, for joining us today. I appreciate,
Hello.
yes, I appreciate you being here and taking the time to share your life's challenges, experience, and triumphs.
Oh, Cynthia, thank you so much. Just a little joke between Cynthia and I, take two. Let's hope today comes out really nice. uh, Thank you so much for inviting me today. As Cynthia said, I'm the corporate sponsorship developer for Alpha. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Norma Molina. I'm a native El Pasoan. I've been here all my life. I have traveled overseas. I used to be a military wife, so I lived in Germany twice. And then my background, I'm a human resource specialist. I have a background in dealing with people that are grieving. I worked at the National Cemetery for many, many, many years. So I did some grief counseling, talked to families. And then my expertise now is I'm a protocol expert. So what is protocol? Everybody says, well, it just depends on the circle that you're with. In my business, I work for the government. So my protocols is how to act, what to do, seating, just anything from a coffee all the way up to a huge event, with a couple of thousand people. And I want to start off with making your mark. Cynthia, again, thank you. We talked about making the mark earlier. That's just such a huge realm. It can be something spiritual, something that you want to leave to your community, mentoring people. And, my forte is I love to mentor people, but I love more mentoring women,
Right.
you know. And Cynthia, to everybody out there, Cynthia's just such an amazing person. She's such a giver. She's an educated woman, a Latina, first and foremost. And I want to say, muchas gracias. Eres una persona muy linda, muy amable. Y le doy gracias a Dios por ti.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Norma. You're awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Making your mark. That this is, I think, a great topic for you. Because in everything that you do as well, Norma, it's important that you leave that imprint with
Mhm.
others. And when you mentioned that this is what you wanted to talk about, I got really excited about having this conversation with you because when we talk about making your mark, yes, success is part of it, right? When you go and you do all these great wonderful things and you're successful at it and you're making your mark that way. But when you and I were talking, we're talking more of making your mark around those that you care for, that you love, and then letting that grow beyond that, right?
Right. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Um, with my children, I always think and I talk to them. I say, hey, if there's anything I didn't do or something I did, forgive me. And, I want you to remember me as a woman, a very stern woman, by the way. I was strict with my children, which is why they're so successful. I have three children. I have Angel is 40 years old, Nadia's 38, and Bianca is 28. And they are such a blessing to me in my life, very successful. Um, and to the women out there, my Latina sisters, I just want to say to you, push on. And as we said earlier, adelante, corran recio, corran fuerte, corran con orgullo. See, I'm 9 generations into this country. I was talking to a gentleman the other day and he's like, Senora, where are you from? I said, I'm from Texas. And he's like, wow, you speak Spanish very well. And I said, well, when I was a kid, I remember my grandmother and my grandfather on my dad's side. When we went in their home, they were fully bilingual. But when we entered grandpa's house, we had to speak nothing but Spanish. I don't know if you've seen, Cynthia, the movie Tortilla Soup. Have you seen that?
I haven't. No, I'm gonna have to write that
You gotta
down.
watch it. It's like tortilla soup for the soul. And the dad is raising four girls. My daddy raised four women, and my mom. And they would speak English or Spanish in the house. No Spanglish. And it's really cute. Please watch it. Any of you that have not seen this movie, it's just amazing. It's heartwarming. It shows that we're a people that are warm, we're giving, we're loving. We will give you the shirt off our back if at all possible. And then back to what we were talking earlier, leaving your mark. What do I want to be remembered for? I want to be remembered as a humble person. I consider myself a strong woman, an educated woman, a woman that loves her career. But first and foremost, I love people. I want them to succeed. It doesn't matter where in the ranks you fall in this world. I tell people, do the best you can at anything. My parents come from the Great Depression. So daddy graduated from high school, was offered a scholarship, declined it because he went to the military. So we've been around this military service for many, many decades, many generations. My mom grew up in an area where, they needed food and clothing, so they would pick cotton. But as she grew older, finished, I think she went through high school and maybe didn't finish high school, but mother was so smart when it came to mathematics. She managed Walgreens. That used to be, do you remember, Cynthia, Gunning Castiles?
I do. The name sounds very familiar. Yeah.
So they used to be the drugstores. They had the soda pop fountain and everything. And then the Gunning Castiles sold to Walgreens, I think. And then she was a cashier there. And then she managed, when we were in high school, she managed Fredericks of Hollywood. Ooh. People were like, OMG, your mother works at Fredericks. I'm like, yeah, she's the manager. But everything was done with so much class. But what I got out of mom and dad, my grandparents, my aunts and my uncles is like, it doesn't matter what you do it to the best.
Yes.
What are you going to leave behind? What are people going to remember you for?
Right.
I love to give. I love to help my community service. You and I belong to a couple of boards. And we work hard to make sure whatever event we're doing, to include today's recording, is that we do it to the best of our ability, and to let people know that we really care. And folks, I'm here for you. If you ever need anything, just get a hold of Cynthia and we'll run fast for you.
Right. Yes. Anything worth doing, you got to do with ganas, right? Do it with ganas, with umph.
Con ganas, dele ganas, decía mi abuela. Y luego, grandma, if you got a little bit excited, mamá, I used to call her mamá, decía, juega la fría. I'm like, what is that about? That means be cool, play it cool.
Play it cool.
Juega la fría, decía. That we have so many sayings, okay? My kids sent me a text message the other day, and they talked about órale. Okay means órale. That's okay, órale. Let's go, órale. I mean, there's like 10 of them. I'll have to send you the text, and I will, órale.
Are you serious?
Are you serious? Órale. And I was cracking up because I'm like, wow. And as a kid, I grew up in an era that we just had to really walk very erect. We had to act a certain way. Things were expected out of us. And then people would watch us, okay, and think, oh, they're going to be this way or they're going to act that way. People ask me now, why do you speak English so well? And I'm like, well, I was born and raised in this country. Well, where are your ancestors from? Honestly, I always tell people what happened to my people is Texas came to us. We didn't come to Texas. Yeah. I mean, think about 9 generations, Sylvia, the way the lines were drawn. Yeah. Digo, tú, Cynthia, and they look at me like, hi, Norma, she's so weird. So I always tell people, if you don't want me to really give you a good answer, don't ask me a question. My kids, they're adults now. I said, you want to talk like an adult, be ready for an adult answer. Right. And learn how to communicate. Leave your stamp behind. What is your mark? As Latinas, what is your mark? What do you want to be known for? We were talking about Miss Pasillas, Cynthia.
Yes,
We just
Miss
lost her.
Pasillas. Mhm.
And I love what Cynthia says about her is that she walked in a room and the whole room would change. What an awesome way to remember this lady. And I thought about watching a couple of movies. You know, it's National Hispanic Heritage Month. There's movies out there. I was listening to Selma Hayek, Rita Moreno, America Ferrer, and some other ladies that were talking, a couple of gentlemen. They're all Latinos. I also heard Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor. She comes from the poor towns in Nueva York. But she said we were a community. We
Yes.
were not just Latinos, we were Asians, African Americans, Latinos, whites, but we were a family. And what was the mark that they left behind? And she said, one of the gentlemen, he was an Asian, and he said, you're going to have to apply to Ivy League schools. And she's like, what is that? They're the best schools in America because you're so smart. And look at her where she's at now. Rita Moreno, first Latina to get an Oscar when she did West Side Story. And she said she was so nervous. She's like, thank you. And that was it. She walked out. She didn't know what to say. And then, of course, years passed by and she said, man, I wish I could say so much more. But when in fact, she has said a lot to us, you know, she's done a lot of movies. The one thing I remember about her is how they expected her to always talk like this. And even today, I'll run into people that will say, hey, just do your job. And you always know, you and I can kid like that, but you know when people are not kidding.
Right.
What do you do in those cases? You know what? Be the better man or better woman. Walk away. Show them. People know me that I pretty much do not engage in craziness. But if you push the right button, man, you'll see a bull come out of me. But I will still not act crazy because I don't want people to look at me and say, hey, Norma acted just super, super crazy. Cynthia knows me well enough that I'm a passionate woman. I love to dance.
Yes.
I love flamenco, tango, the salsas, a couple of conferences that we did. Oh, we just danced. My feet, I couldn't feel my feet when we would go home. I mean, Cynthia, what would be your mark, Cynthia?
Gosh, that's a very good question. I'm usually the one asking questions, Norma.
Sorry.
What would be my mark? Gosh, so one of my own personal sayings is live to better the life of others. And so what mark would I like to leave behind is that I made a difference in other people's lives. So live to better the life of others, that in some way, shape, or form, I help make somebody's life better. That would be
And you
my
have. I can
yeah.
be one of the witnesses you have. And folks, it doesn't matter. Again, let me reiterate. You can have a high school degree. You can have a PhD. But at the end of the day, where does your education come from?
Right.
What were you taught when you were raised? And what are you going to leave behind? Whether they call you ma'am, miss, Mrs., or doctor. My mom always said, no más porque tienen educación, no quiere decir que están educados. Just because you have an education does not mean that you're educated. What does that mean, folks? Think about that very carefully. I could have a PhD degree, I could have 10 masters, a couple of bachelors, but what is it that I show people? Do I
Yeah,
demonstrate that I'm an educated woman?
it comes down to your compassion, right? Your
Exactly.
generosity, your compassion, your
Right.
kindness, when you're giving that, when you're being
Right.
generous, when you're being compassionate, when you're being kind, that's when you're remembered. Obviously, you can be remembered for other things that are the opposite of that, but
Right.
I don't know of anyone that wants to be remembered that way, right?
Right.
It's also
Exactly.
living in your passion. And
Yes.
to live in your passion, you have to know what your passion is. So what is your passion? Norma, what's your passion?
My passion, I've got a couple. One of them are people. I love people. I listen very careful. And I'm a woman of faith. I'm not embarrassed to tell anybody that. So sometimes people need prayer. Sometimes they need to be just listened to. Sometimes they just need to be heard. And then if they ask your opinion, then give it. If not, then just kind of stay quiet. And you'd be surprised how many times you can help, or I've helped people that I just listen to, and somebody will say you have nothing to say, and I'm like, well, I do, but I want to see what you have to say. And
Mhm.
then of course, my next passion is the dance, el baile,
Yes, yes.
el baile. And I don't, as a woman that I went through a divorce one time, and people are like, let's go party. No, because I cannot. I listen to music and I can't stay seated. And I love the fact that now you can go to a party. I mean, I have my viejo now, but I like that you can go to a party, and if he doesn't want to dance, the women, we get up and dance anyway. That's so
Yes,
much fun. When I was a kid, unless they asked you to dance,
yes,
there's no way you were going to dance.
right.
So those are my passions, and of course, my biggest love in my life is my family. I love my children. I'm very proud of them. I'm very blessed to have them. My viejo, he's good to me. I have grandchildren. Oh, what a passion there. They're just so adorable. And I love that they call me abuela, abuela or abuela, whatever they want to call me. I don't care. You know, it's just sometimes they just do silly things. And so those are my, I guess, top three passions is life, people, and within people are included my children and my family, and then my dance. I love to dance. It's a good thing the walls don't have um, eyes, because sometimes I'll be here in the house by myself and I play some salsita or some merengue y ahí ando como loca, baile, 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 baile. And I'm thinking, oh Lord, if people would only see me right.
I'm the same way. I love to dance. I love to sing. I cannot carry a tune, but I will sing my lungs out, and my family is like, oh. But I love music. I love music. It's so, enriching, and you can just
It is.
put your soul
It is.
into it. I sing crazy in the shower. I sing crazy in the car. I sing crazy here at home. Sometimes I'm just like, but
Right.
God didn't give me a beautiful voice, so that's okay.
How about talking to yourself? Sometimes I really hold my tongue and I'll get in the car and I'm like, "Ay, estos locos," or, that's when I vent. It's me, myself, and and nobody can say anything to me.
Yeah, yeah,
And always find somebody that can mentor you, that really will help you.
yes.
Folks, when you mentor somebody, talk to them over and over as much as you can without tiring. Some people just get tired and don't want to hear you anymore. So that's just a judgment call you have to make. If I'm going to mentor somebody, I give them a phone call. And I love to just call people and say, hey, how are you? Just checking up. With the pandemic now, it's just people are some people are okay. Some people are sad. We got a lot of people that are afraid. A lot of angry people. You can see that on the television.
Hmm.
We have to learn to love each other in spite of all those challenges out in the world. Pick somebody who will be positive with you. If you call somebody and say, hey, I'm having a bad day. Okay, what's going on? Let's talk. No, pues es que tienes que cambiar. Aguántese. No, I'm going to be 63. And I'm very proud. I'm embarrassed to tell anybody. But back in the day, we were raised with a chancla.
Hmm.
If anybody knows who the chancla is, and you did not talk back to your parents, your grandparents. So sometimes people had some feelings built up, and then as you get older, you get to talk to your parents and say, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. My kids, pretty much, I think they were able to talk to me. I hope. I don't know. Does that make sense to you, Cynthia?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Leaving your mark with your family and the way they remember
Yeah.
you and how you treated them, right? Leaving
Right.
your leaving
Yes.
your mark within the community and how you uh, have given back or done as we become successful in what we do, it's important that we give back, right?
Yes.
That we're giving back to our community, that we're giving back within our organization, that it's not where you just excel it and leave everybody behind. There's no gain in that. There's no gain in
Right.
that when you're being self-absorbed.
Exactly.
It's
Right.
you know reaching out to that other individual and bringing them with you and helping and giving
Right.
back and being a part of it. It's not being self-focused, but being others focused, right? Being
Exactly.
focused on others, and that's how you leave your
Because
mark.
because when you give, it's going to come back to you tenfold. People are going to understand. People call. A friend of mine just lost her mom. She called me, and we just chatted. What do you tell people that have just lost their loved ones? Just listen, you know. And if they want to hear something, they'll ask you. When people are happy, rejoice with them. Jump for joy. Don't be jealous.
Yes.
Women, sometimes we're so jealous of each other. It's crazy. And this is another thing this is another topic that I talk about is women love each other. It doesn't matter what color you are. We're focused on the Latinas today because it is Hispanic month. We deserve that. We deserve a month. We're the largest minority community in the United States right now. And we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But as women, remember, most of us are mothers, wives, girlfriends,
Sisters.
grandmothers, sisters. Love each other. It's not perfect. I've had disagreements with my sisters, but I love them to death. And as women, support each other. Hey, you got a promotion. That's great. That's fantastic. Maybe you competed for the same job and you didn't get it. Hey, I'm so glad you got it. Encourage people. Women of color, especially us women of color, whether you're brown, black, yellow, and I always go green, pink, blue, and white. Support each other, love each other, take care of each other, grow together. I have a little thing that I talk about when I talk to women in general.
You got your thing got muted.
If you look at the Crayola box, ladies, let me tell you something. The white is in there. It's a color too. So let's stop not loving each other. Let's stop segregating each other. Let's love each other. And to my sisters, to my hermanas, my Latina sisters, mexicanas, mexicoamericanas, puertorriqueñas, cubanas, Argentina, de España, de todo el mundo latino, les digo, quiéranse mucho, sean orgullosas, enséñenle al mundo quién somos, porque somos mujeres muy distintas, muy amorosas. We love and we're very passionate and we're compassionate also. And that is the mark as a Latina that I feel I want to leave behind to all of you. That one day they can think back and say, she loved her people. She loved people in general. She loved to dance.
Yes.
Don't tell those crazy jokes when I was a kid anymore, but sometimes I like to tell jokes.
Amen. Very, very good. That yeah, this actually brings us to our end, but very good stuff that you had to share here, Norma. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Period.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Yeah.
You're so sweet.
This was an awesome subject. I think ladies, everything that Norma said, we do have to be there to support each other. Regardless of we don't know what the other person is going through in life. We don't know what their experience is. We haven't. People are going through things that we're not aware of. And so when someone reaches a milestone, when someone does something awesome within their lives, support them, support them and be happy
Exactly.
for them. And then because your time is coming too. Who knows what's going around the corner? Who knows what's happening in the next few months or even next couple of years, that your turn will come. So let's support each other in every way possible, and make sure that you're leaving your mark and want to be remembered in the way that would be important to you. So thank you all for joining us today. Norma, again, thank you for joining me today with this topic and conversation. And we look forward to seeing you all. Please remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube. I'm Cynthia Trejo with Her Element Network, and Norma Molina with Women of Alpha from El Paso. Thank you all, ladies.
Gracias, Cynthia. Thank you, everybody, and God bless you all.
God bless you.